So part of your expedition training requires you looking at different types of equipment and getting you ready for your final expedition. Today we're going to be looking at sleeping bags, and we're going to look at which one's suitable for you. First thing we're going to look at is the temperature that you're expected to do your expedition in and which sleeping bag suits you. So if it's midsummer, a one season bag is what you need, real lightweight, but if it's getting colder, it's not going to be good enough. We then move on to a 3-season bag, which is suitable for spring, summer and winter, and autumn, before we move on to a full expedition -20 bag, which hopefully you're not going to need. So that's the temperatures. So when you start looking at a sleeping bag, it has a comfort rating written either on the bag or on the side of the sleeping bag. So this one here will show you that it has a comfort zone down to about 5 degrees. Other bags will say that they are comfort at 5 degrees, but they have a limit of 0. That doesn't mean you're going to be in trouble if it's below 0, but it means it's not going to be a nice comfortable night. Now that's really subjective down to what you've had for tea, the weather conditions, where you're camping, and how many people are in your tent. So be aware of that one. The important thing is getting the right one and knowing how to use it. So we're going to look at the insulation, the bit within the sleeping bag that keeps you warm. We have two main types. There's a man-made synthetic bag and then there's a down bag. So the synthetic bag is made out of nylon fibres, just the same as that. They trap air and keep you warm. The down has exactly the same, but it's natural fibres. The down lofts up and it's the air pockets that keep you warm. The advantage over synthetic is its price. You're looking at entry bags starting from around, £30 going upwards. They're great if you're doing an expedition that involves water and it might get wet. The downside of them is the size, the sheer volume of the bag. So this is a synthetic bag. You can see it's quite big. This is a 3-season bag. This is another 3-season bag, but in down. So you can definitely see the difference, the weight and the volume. So if size is an issue, you're going to want to go down side of things. So the advantage being its packability and its volume. It also works better in extreme temperatures, hence this bag being an extreme bag. The downside, as I've said, is if it gets wet, it loses all its properties. Now some bags have a material and a coating that allow them to get wet, but they cost a lot of money. If we're looking at £30 or £40 for this bag, we're talking about for a 4-season bag, the other side of £300. We're now going to look at the construction of a bag. Ideally, you want what's called a mummy shaped bag, which has got a narrow bottom, wider at the shoulders, and a hood that you can snuggle right down inside. That's going to keep you warmer than a traditional rectangular shaped bag. Come in different types. This one's really lightweight, so it only has a short zip compared to the full zip of this one. The advantage of the full zip is if it's really hot, you can undo it and use it as a duvet, so it works really well on that side of things. Look at how it's made. What you don't want is the baffles, the bits that hold the webbing in place, sewing right the way through. So what you then end up is a nice big bit of insulation that goes to nothing, and then it goes wide again. Where it's got nothing, you're going to get cold. This particular one, the synthetic bag, has almost got 2 bags, one side inside the other, and that works really well at keeping you warm. Other things you might want to consider: does it have a neck baffle on the inside so that you can get inside your sleeping bag and pull that up around your neck and tighten it up to stop the warm air coming out over your shoulders, as well as that over the top of your heads. Sometimes you'll get things that have got pockets, so you can put stuff in there. I don't know why I'd want a pocket what I want for me is a lightweight rather than anything else. So when you get to your campsite, you want to pull it out of your stuff sack, let it air, get some fresh air into it, makes it loft up so it's going to be warmer. At the end of the night, when you're getting ready, you're then going to take the stuff sack and stuff your sleeping bag in. And literally, that's why it's called a stuff sack. We're taking one end and just stuff it, stuff it in until you've got the whole bag sorted. So here's the little lightweight one. You can see the advantage here. Just how small that goes, and the most important thing is that it never gets wet. So I always carry another bag to keep my sleeping bag nice and dry. Whether that's a down bag or a synthetic bag, you never want it on the outside of your rucksack, and you never want it just in its bag. It will get wet and you'll have a horrible night's sleep. So some top tips for a comfy night under canvas or sleeping in your sleeping bag. First thing is, make sure you've got the right sleeping bag for the job. So if you know you're going out in the winter, get a decent sleeping bag. Don't try and use that little lightweight one season bag, you will be cold. The other thing is, you've made sure that you've kept it dry and you've got to the campsite, you've put your tent up, you've put something to sleep on, and you've opened your sleeping bag up to air it, to get some loft back into it. To help you keep warm, we can use a sheet sleeping bag liner. This one's made out of a silk. It adds certainly one season to your sleeping bag and makes that one season bag comfy in spring and autumn. It also has the advantage of allowing you to chuck that in the washing machine when you get back rather than your sleeping bag. You don't want to be washing your sleeping bag much at all, because every time you wash it, it loses some of its properties. When we get back home, we've dried our sleeping bag out, either in the banister or in the tumble dryer, and then we're storing it in a pillowcase where it's not completely crushed up. We don't want to be leaving them in their stuff sacks when we get back. So that works really well. Chucked in the top of the airing cupboard, ready for when we're going to use it next time. The other thing we need to consider about is what we're going to be wearing in our sleeping bag, and we'll look at that under the kit and equipment that we're going to be carrying later on. So a quick summary, looking at sleeping bags, it comes down to how much you can afford to spend on a bag. So you may be restricted to buying a cheap and cheerful one, but if it means you're getting out exploring, hey, that's brilliant, that works. If you can afford a bit more, what are you looking for? Are you looking for one that you can pack down that's going to be slightly lighter and easier to carry, maybe a bit more in the way of insulation than the cheap and cheerful one? Also be creative. This particular one came off of Gumtree. Was greatly reduced, so you can always try and find bargains. Don't just walk into the first shop you see, and don't forget, if you go into Cotswolds with your D&V card, I think you get 15% discount. So have a look round, see what you want it to do, and then go out and explore.